grade math because he's doing so, he's getting done with math. Made me feel good.
Well, I mean, that makes me happy for multiple reasons.
That they're doing individual math.
Of course, that they're actually customized, yeah.
It's a little Dutch boy.
All right. So if you don't mind, Katie, I'd love to see that.
Okay.
Or I'd love to see it. I guess I didn't see it the first time.
Yeah.
So Candace asked a great question about this GPA problem. And the problem is there's something missing in the calculation. And the calculation that's missing is the fact that, well, first of all, there's not one number. So somehow you guys managed to pull numbers out of these, right? How'd you do that? How did you get numbers out of letters?
Guess.
Magic trick. Guess. Okay, I did tell you to guess. But why did you guess 3 and not 8? Or 10? Or... And tell me your name again.
My name's Kevin.
Kevin, go.
So there's 5 letter grades.
You got it.
So you would, 0 would be an F, the rest would be associated with the...
Absolutely. So because we have set the system up that 4 is the highest and 0 is the lowest, we have to assign each of these to a number. So the A's that are here are going to be equivalent to 4. Does anybody know what the C plus is or the B plus?
Is that 2?
No, C is 2. C is 2, B is 3.
2.5.
It's a thirds. They're on thirds. They go by thirds, and the reason they go on thirds is because they have a plus and a minus between. So starting with F, it's kind of weird. Going with F as a 0, an F plus technically would be a 0.33. A D minus would be a 0.67. And a D would be a 1.
Okay, so that's how they're...
Exactly. A D plus is therefore a 1.33. A C minus is a 1.67. A C is a 2. A C plus is a 2.33.
Well, that makes my grade point understandable.
Right, good, good.
Yeah.
What's under a C plus? B minus is 2.67. B is 3. B plus, 3.33. A minus, 3.67. A 4, no such thing as A plus, which I find to be ridiculous. This is why I only give pluses. When I do your guys' grades, I only give you the plus if you deserve the plus. I don't give you the minus if you deserve the minus. So it's I still obey the third rule, but if you fall into the B minus category, I still give you just a B. So that way
So
your
the
GPA
pluses
is
are
perfect.
3, 3?
Each increment is a third of a point.
Okay.
It's rounded, so it's 0.33 and 0.67. So this is a little bit lower than it should be, and the 0.67 is a little bit higher than it should be. But
And what'd you say the minuses were?
whatever's the next third, up or down. So if you go from B plus to A minus, you add another third.
Okay,
So it's 3.67.
Okay.
Rounded to two decimals. I'm not saying it's fair, I'm saying it's what it is. Excuse me, you get a little pissed off, and I apologize, but that's just kind of the system we're stuck with.
Yeah, A's and A.
So, now we've got numbers. And A's and A?
Yeah, A's and A.
Well, yeah, I'm just...
3.67.
Dave,
Yeah,
system we got, man.
that's
I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying it's the system we have. So,
Give me an A minus, drop everything.
now knowing this, is that going to change your guys' guesses up here at all?
Yes.
It is! How's it going to change it?
3, 3.
Is it now higher than you thought it was, or lower, or...
Lower.
It's going to be lower than you think it is. So instead of like...
I wasn't sure about the plus and the minus and how
Oh,
it's
okay.
increment.
Totally fine, totally fine. So rather than just do another series of guesses, let's just figure out how to calculate it, right?
Yeah.
This would be considered your data. So I'm going to go ahead and call that X. Just to keep with our T-table idea that we brought up in class last time, let's call that X. That's our X column, or our left column. Now, if all of these classes carried equal weight in the grading process, you could just add those 4 things up and divide by 4.
Right.
Of course, exactly. You guys understand that, right? But they don't in general. Sometimes they do, depending on the classes you're taking. Anybody taking 3 4-credit classes at this moment, and that's all you're taking is 3 4-credit, and you could just divide by 3, add them up, divide by 3, not a problem. Is anybody not taking equally weighted classes right now? That's the rest of you, right? So for the rest of us, we have to adjust for that by having a frequency column. We have to have a frequency column, which sometimes are called the weights of those data points. The weights. Frequencies, weights, counts, whatever you want to call them. It means you have to establish the value, how important those are. So, writing. How much weight does writing have?
4.
4. It counts as 4 credits. It used to be 3.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were 3. There were 3 3-credit classes. Now it's 2 4 credits. I don't know how that's all panned out degree-wise, but somebody understands it. I don't. Statistics.
4.
4 wonderful credits. Psychology. I think that's 4 as well, isn't it? And total fit.
1.
The most intense 1 credit you'll ever experience. Wonderful class. Wonderful class. now we got what we got. I mean, we got the data, we got the frequencies. This is all we need to calculate what we're looking for, which is our X bar or our GPA, right? We need to make our XF column, don't we? Because even though you got a 3.33, that counts 4 times. So what's that come up to be? That comes to 13.34. Did I do that right? 13, 4 times this.
Oh, okay, 4 times 3 is 12.
13.33? 32?
3-2.
Dude.
32. Yeah, it should be technically 14.33, but they round everything off. So you get these little goofy little fluctuations in the numbers. So this used to be called something, like quality points or something. It is on your transcript. If you look at your, it still is called that, okay. If you look at your transcript, you'll see these numbers. Somewhere down there buried in your transcript. You'll see the letter grade, quality points, and so forth. 4 times 4, that's 16. You maxed out your stat quality points. You maxed them out. 2, 3, 3 times 4, 8, 9.32. Did I do that right, friends?
9, yeah.
Sure.
I think, always check my math, just FYI. Always check my math, I kind of suck at it. 4 times 1, no, I can't do precise arithmetic in my head. I'm not very good at that. I'm very good at very big generalizations and getting ballpark. When it comes to something precise, I'm not the best, so definitely check this kind of work. And this is just 4, right? So the idea is this A versus this A are not the same A. That's the kicker with weighted means. That not everything counts the same, right? That's why the average in voting is so important. If you guys don't vote with the same regularity as other blocks, you can't treat yourself, well, I voted, what's the difference? The difference is not many people in your block voted, so your vote it does count less because of that. Okay, I think we're ready. We need to sum both these columns up. XF, 0.64, 20, what is it, 0.64?
42.64.
Thank you. 42.64 over, was that 13?
Sure is.
Taking 13. That one I can do.
3.28.
And I think we got it now, don't we? We've amassed that many quality points. We've taken that many credits to do it, so how many quality points do we have per credit, which is what a GPA is? How many quality points per credit did you earn? That's what a GPA is. Let's come down to here. The GPA, we're going to call it X bar to stick with our language, is going to be that 42.64 over 13.
3.28.
I was going to say 3.4. Is it 3.2? Closer to 3.2?
3.29.
Is it 3.29? Does it come out of that?
No, 3.28.
Oh, 3.2.
Whatever.
Everyone freak out!
That is pretty damn close. I'm going to call it a 3.3 because I don't make rules and I'm going to round up and make your GPA look better. 3.33.
That's pretty good.
So that is pretty darn good. That is pretty darn good. Exactly. But you can see, you can use this to your advantage. You can use this to your advantage. You can screw up in a class like Total Fit if it comes down to where you're going to spend your resources. When a class is 1 credit versus 4, if you have to devote your resources to one of those, you can see where you're going to spend it, right? You're going to spend the resources where it can do the most good or head off the most damage. This is what's called a distribution or allocation of resources. Some we're going to spend a great deal of time with in this class later on once this is all kind of like second old hat to us. Please, Chrissy.
I just want to throw in a little comment.
Go.
So, if you're transferring though,
Yes.
note for GPA,
Yes.
is that if you take less classes out of college and then you transfer and you I've been at 2 schools.
Mm-hmm.
They
We're in a
weigh
semester
differently.
school versus a term school.
Right, they weigh differently. So you really
Yeah.
have to have the lower one
Absolutely.
a little. You have to put a lot into that lower one than you do.
I promise to never stop fighting to make Oregon go 2 semesters so that we join the rest of the world and go semesters.
Yeah,
I promise. It's one of those fights I'm never going to give up on. It is frustrating because of that transfer.
I was under
My
80
last
credits.
semester, my last school was a semester and I hated it. 16 weeks of focus, I did so much better in the 6 weeks and 8-week courses. My attention span was still motivated.
That isn't the modal response I get, though. That isn't, I'm going statistic. Rachel, I'm not trying to ignore your input. It's very, very good. But it's not the modal response I get. When I compare and contrast student engagement across, now this is national polls you have to look at. Semesters are generally favored because it's more instruction time, as you pointed out. But it's even more instruction time if you add up 3 10-week terms versus 2 16. That's 2 more weeks of instruction time, right? 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30, 16 plus 16 is 32. It's less shifting of gears, which is not good for certain people. Some people like the shifting of gears, the hyper-focus, and so forth and so on. It's never going to happen, not in my lifetime. It won't happen because it requires, it's kind of like going to the metric system now that we're embedded in the English system. It's just not going to happen while I'm alive. But it ties to that idea of transferability I wish I understood. There's something unmathematical about that. This is pure mathematics. I can kind of live with this.
Because you get 2/3 classes.
What's that?
You get 2/3 of a class, like, right?
Right, or 1.5 going the other way, right?
Right.
If you go from term to semester, it's 2/3. Semester to term, it's 1.5. I've never liked that idea too much because it ignores what's actually in the course. They assume that 16 is exactly 1.6 of 10. Well, apples, apples? Is that the same exact course? Is it Math 243? Is it Math 243? Is it Math 105? I have this discussion, I'm in the middle of this discussion right now with 2 other students trying to transfer in and out from Eastern Oregon and from Blue Mountain. It makes my head hurt. That's why I like to think about just the mathematics of our own institution, because at least I can understand that.
But like
So-
you said about the writing, like I took a writing class that was 3 credits because I took it a long time ago, but I got credit for it as
Yeah.
someone that took it for 4
It,
credits.
it escapes the rules of like rigorous and weighted mathematics at that point. It becomes almost like a check for somebody in an office to make. So, unfortunately. So, GPA. I'm not saying it's fair, I'm saying it is, right? Give you an idea though, it's not the be all and end all. And it's funny because I just heard this repeated by somebody else. Years ago I had a student in Math 243. I had him for a number of terms before that too. I think I had him in